not lose gains. Boris holds crunch talks with Biden amid Afghanistan crisis. Boris Johnson and Joe Biden held a late-night crunch phone call about the ongoing Afghanistan crisis. The leaders communicated after Mr. Johnson revealed plans to welcome up to 25,000 Afghans in danger of the Taliban to Britain. A Downing Street spokesperson said the Prime Minister and US President are cooperating on evacuation efforts. The spokesperson said, "The Prime Minister spoke to US President Biden this evening about the current situation in Afghanistan." The leaders welcomed US and UK cooperation in recent days to help evacuate our nationals, current and former staff, and others from Afghanistan. They resolved to continue working closely together on this in the days and weeks ahead to allow as many people as possible to leave the country. The Prime Minister and Mr. Biden also agreed on the need for the global community to come together to prevent a humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. During the call, Mr. Johnson highlighted the importance of preserving the advances made in the region over the past 2 decades. Both leaders will discuss the situation further during a virtual G7 summit due in the next few days. The spokesperson said, the Prime Minister outlined UK plans including increased humanitarian aid to the region and resettlement of refugees. The Prime Minister stressed the importance of not losing the gains made in Afghanistan over the last 20 years, of protecting ourselves against any emerging threat from terrorism and of continuing to support the people of Afghanistan. The Prime Minister and President looked forward to discussing this issue further at a virtual meeting of G7 leaders in the coming days. The White House issued a statement following the discussion echoing Downing Street's remarks. It also confirmed both leaders will appear at a virtual G7 leaders meeting next week. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is due to host fellow G7 leaders at a virtual meeting today to discuss equitable vaccine distribution and global economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. The meeting will be the first hosted by the UK PM as part of the country's 2021 G7 presidency. It will also be US President Joe Biden's first major multilateral engagement. Issues regarding vaccine access have become an escalating crisis for many developing countries, though some headway has been made with the establishment of COVAX, a multilateral effort that focuses on the equitable development and delivery of COVID-19 vaccines to developing nations. Last month, the US announced it would join the COVAX initiative, becoming the last G7 country to do so. Expect today's meeting to focus on international pandemic preparedness. Biden is likely to recommit the US to multilateral engagements. In this vein, expect Biden to coordinate cooperation likely through signaling support for the G7-backed plan for a new increased allocation of the International Monetary Fund's own reserve currency, known as Special Drawing Rights, SDR. Increased SDR would greatly aid low-income countries hit by COVID-19 in spurring economic recovery. The statement said Mr. Johnson and Mr. Biden discussed the need for continued close coordination among allies and democratic partners on Afghanistan policy going forward, including ways the global community can provide further humanitarian assistance and support for refugees and other vulnerable Afghans. Chaos ensued in Kabul over the past few days after the rapid takeover by the Taliban. Footage showed desperate Afghans trying to flee the country by holding onto a military jet taking off. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab told Sky News the UK is surprised at the speed in which tables have turned. He said, "The truth is, across the world, people were caught by surprise. I haven't spoken to an international interlocutor, including countries in the region, over the last week, who hasn't been surprised." Over the